I watched this arrest, and I want to get your take on it before because I've already given my opinion to the audience.
Yeah, like my first take is that innocent until proven guilty, right? I'm not a fan of speaking too much publicly on situations where I don't have any more information than anybody else, right? Because then it's just conjecture and it's bias, right? I know Andrew, I know Tristan. I've met them both. I've interviewed them both. I've hung out with them both. My bias is going to lean towards, hey, I know these guys. To speak up but look.
Did you see that? Did you see the mention of the Vice documentary though?
No, I didn't see that. I'll tell you what. Even just removing any sort of personal connection and bias. Number one, the principle, of course, people are, as a man, as a woman, whoever, innocent until proven guilty, right? I don't know all the information out there. Nobody does. I'd also say that just putting that aside, the logical and rational side, I don't understand. It seems these particular charges seem unlikely just because the incentives don't make sense as well, right? So even if I didn't know these guys at all, I didn't know them at all, I'd just be like, what would be the incentive for that? This doesn't make sense. If you're making lots of money, hundreds of millions legitimately, and you're the opposite of hurting from women, you've got tons of women who like you or attract you, like why would you do that? And on top of this, if you were doing some heinous criminal activity, why would you intentionally seek to promote yourself and make yourself famous and extremely popular? If I were running some shadowy criminal organization of any type, and I'm a remotely intelligent human being,
get off the radar.
The last thing I want is to be going viral on TikTok, and to be appearing on all these podcasts all over the world, and to have everyone know my name and be Googling me or what. That would be the last thing I'd want. So from a logical standpoint, I'm like, this doesn't make, unless there's something here, like it doesn't make sense to me. And then from what I can personally vouch, knowing these guys and their character, because I know people know their online personas, and he said this about women, and he's this, and he's this, and he's this. These are two genuinely polite and kind and welcoming individuals who I've been to their house. Like they've been very, very kind to me. I'm a loyal person. I would never throw someone under the bus or just, people are there like DMing me, you need to distance yourself from this guy, and you shouldn't be doing this, and you shouldn't. I'm like, guys, I don't even know who you are. I know who these guys are. I've met them. I've hung out. I'm not going to just throw people under the bus based off of allegations. If, Lord willing, this never, but I would, if some allegation ever came up against someone was accusing me of doing something, I would like to think that anyone who knows me, even people who don't know me, would be like, wait, no, innocent until proven guilty, right? Just an allegation is not enough to just throw somebody under the bus and, throw them to the wolves. There's
so many people, though. It's amazing that will throw that innocent until proven guilty just in the garbage pail because they don't like someone.
It's pathetic.
It's like, maybe they don't like Tate. Maybe they're offended by what he's saying personally. Whatever it may be, you've made a decision that he's guilty without looking at anything. And you're very comfortable disseminating that and saying, guilty, I can't wait till they get him, all this stuff.
Yeah, that's gross.
And it's like, well, what happens when it's you or when it's somebody that you like? Then you're going to flip it and all of a sudden they're going to be innocent until proven guilty. This is either someone's innocent until proven guilty or not.
Yes.
And it's been fascinating. I just wanted to mention that Vice thing to you because you hadn't seen it. But what was interesting to me, I went over, there's a promo. Apparently Vice, we covered a feminist panel they did over there, which they edited and doctored and all of their nonsense. I had Just Pearly on the other day, and she was saying how it was edited, and no surprise there. But apparently they went, and they had access to Andrew and Tristan, and they interviewed them, and they did this full, what was supposed to be a documentary. And then they, in a very timely fashion, now that they've been arrested, months later, they released this as he's in the news cycle. And I look, and one of the girls featured in it is a girl who had made accusations about him quite a bit ago. And those accusations were found to be unfounded. There was not sufficient evidence or any evidence. So they featured her because they wanted an emotional reaction from the audience. And I'm getting really tired of folks trying these people in the court of public opinion.
Yes.
And we saw this with Kavanaugh. You're seeing it now with Tate. It's like, I don't care if you like Andrew Tate or not. I really don't care. That's not what this is about. If you're trying to have some credibility on whether someone is innocent or guilty, then your emotion shouldn't be involved in the process.
No, and also the truth is, like I said at the beginning, we just don't know. I don't know the information. I don't know what evidence they have or they don't. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know. So all I can, the additional insight I have is, okay, I've met and spoken to these people and I have a logical functioning brain that doesn't get jacked up on emotion. I can look at these things just kind of clearly.
A rarity.
And also I have principles. There's plenty of people out there on the internet who I don't like their opinions. I don't like the way they put stuff out there. I don't like I disagree with them on tons of things. The principle doesn't change. If one of them got arrested or some allegation was made against them, I'm like, look, innocent until proven guilty. I'm not going to be, well, I don't like that guy, so yeah, I hope this. And I'd like, what the heck, man?
Yeah.
Like it's pathetic. Just like people just threw away. Like so many people don't have principles. It's messed up.
You said we don't. You said we don't know. With
Yeah,
reference to the specifics of the charges, and we don't.
We don't.
What I do know is that this guy has gotten under the skin of a lot of bad people.
Yes.
And here's somebody who is charismatic, who does have far reach, who is talking about masculinity and praising masculinity and inviting guys to reignite their masculinity, who's telling them to get to the gym, who cares about, wellness and health, and who isn't afraid to call out modern feminism for what it's done wrong, who's now talking about the climate agenda, who's going head to head with Greta Thunberg. I mean, he is the Matrix's biggest nightmare.
Yes.
So that's what I do know. Yeah. And, somebody asked me the other day and said, well, what happens if, Andrew Tate's jailed or whatever? And I said, listen, if you were positively affected by his message, then you spread that message. Yeah. If he did something positive for your life, then you become a messenger of the cause, yes, so to speak. But I can see just the agenda of out to get him. Before you even had any charges, anything, you saw people were just like, we got to take this guy out, who are so fundamentally threatened by what he's saying.
Yes.
Because either it makes them self-conscious about their own poor decision-making or whatever it may be, but it's creepy to me. There's a creepiness about it. And that's what made me, frankly, look into his long-form content. And I say this, I make a political correlation, but I remember when Sarah Palin first came out on the scene, it was like they were painting her like she was a spawn of the devil. And I was like, what's going on here? I went and did some digging and was like, oh, this woman is deeply threatening to the Democrat establishment and to the Republican establishment.
How it happens?
Right. And now Tate comes out, I'm looking at these shorts, and then I see, oh, this guy is a threat. I do some digging and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. He's inspiring people to get healthy and doing all this stuff that would make people more armed to defeat the Matrix. And now suddenly everybody's at his house again.
Yes.
So that's just my take on it. And I told the audience we would,
touch on it.
Yeah.
Let me add one thing there.
Yeah.
And I said this during my interview with Andrew. And this is a concept that I would really like to ingrain in every listener's brains. I wish I could broadcast this to the world. Is you can eat the meat and spit out the bones. If there is an individual out there who is espousing views or ideas or is doing whatever, look, first of all, there's no person you are going to 100% agree with on absolutely everything. Okay? There will be things that people do or say that you may find objectionable, offensive, and, or even downright wrong, or even immoral in some cases. But if someone also has a massive, positive, inspiring, motivational message out there, then you can take the positive and discard the negative.
They can't do it, do we?
This is the thing that blows my mind. Because, look, firstly, what's been fascinating seeing this, the Andrew's rise, especially the first 6 months of this year, right, is why is this happening? Why, right? People are not thinking, people are like, oh, I don't like what he said about this. I'm like, dude, calm your emotions down for a second. Why is someone like that able to? You might not like him. In fact, even I'd say, especially if you don't like him, you should be more curious as to what is this vacuum that exists in society and in culture, particularly with young men, that is making them go latch onto this person's message and delivery and so much of what he's saying, right? It's not the misogyny or the sexism or the this or the that. In fact, I'd argue a lot of the popularity is despite that. Right? Despite some of those comments he's made, despite those things that you've seen in some of those clips where it's like, yeah, okay, I'm not defending that one, right? But it's the rest of it. And people don't even want to kind of do any analytical thought and critical thought of like, okay, hang on. I don't I don't really like this guy and what he's saying. Like, I disagree with a lot of this stuff. But, oh, okay, he's making some good points there. Oh, okay, you know what, actually, for the past few decades, maybe the message that men have been receiving, young men in particular, hasn't exactly been like positive and inspiring and encouraging them and motivating them. They're not hearing this message from, in fact, they're getting the opposite, right? They're being told they're toxic, they're defective girls, women don't even need them anymore. You know, your mental health, who cares? Like in the UK, at least, I think it's number 2 in the US, but I know that in the UK, I believe under the age of 40, between the ages of 18 and 40, the leading cause of death in men is self-deletion.
Right.
People don't even know that. Those who know, it's just like, whatever. You hear about all these other issues. The leading cause of death. People are here screaming, oh, COVID, COVID, COVID.
Yeah.
The leading cause of death is people offing themselves, men offing themselves. Like, what is going on in society and in culture that's causing thousands, millions of men to even consider such a thing, right? And no one's like thinking on any deep level. It's just watch a 30-second clip and react with my emotions and not form your opinion. It's like, dude, like I know for a fact, Andrew Tate and his message has helped deviate thousands at least of men from considering self-deletion or other types of self-harm. I know that. That's true, right? So you may think, oh, okay, I don't like this message, or I don't like that, or I don't like that, but to not even entertain or recognize any of the positive. It's like people who have like proper Trump derangement syndrome and they can't acknowledge that he did anything good.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? You might not like the fact that he's orange. You might not like the way he speaks.
I think there's the reason for that is that, I mean, they just can't do it. One, if you're emotionally wired, hardwired to have an emotional reaction to everything, you can't get past that. So it's like all you can hear is Tate talking about the one thing you don't like. You don't have that ability to separate or to say, well, I disagree with this, but look at all of this. You just you lose that connection to the rational.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you know? I don't even want to say that you can't do it. You can, but people are choosing not to.
Well, that's the second part. But why? But why? Because if they go down that rabbit hole, if they sit and actually say, okay, I don't like this one thing Andrew Tate said, but let me think about this vacuum that existed for men. Let me think about the fact that men felt like they were getting emotionally castrated for so long. And now there's this guy stepping in and saying there's a better way.
Yes.
Then they have to acknowledge, one, that men and women are different. Two, that masculinity is a powerful thing and is a positive thing for society. Three, that the testosterone running through men's veins is not a bad thing. They have to acknowledge all of these things that society, the system, the matrix have for so long told them was bad, and they have to, their whole worldview has to change, and they're not ready for that. So it's easier to just say, oh, this short of Andrew Tate, this guy's a misogynist. End of story. You don't have to pay attention to the good he's done.
And I want to expand this conversation a little, because this isn't just about Andrew Tate.
That's right.
Like, look at the rise of Jordan Peterson from say 2016 to 2020 in particular. Why did that happen? Why did that message resonate with so many people? Remember all those interviews when it was like, well, why do you think your audience is young men? We've noticed young men like your message. Why is it? Right? And they're almost saying it like it's accusatory, right? Almost trying to put him on the defensive for being appealing to millions of young men, right? They do the same with Joe Rogan, right?
Joe Rogan, yeah, especially the last 2 years.
People should be thinking, why is Joe Rogan the most listened to man in the entire United States? Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. I've done his show twice. I mean, he's got like a staff of 4 people, right? He doesn't have some big, huge production, or he's got $1 billion. Like what is going on there? Instead of just attacking, I don't like when he said that, or I'm like, bro, stop, think.
But what's good about it, like the positive side of it, because you could be like, wow, so much of society is messed up. But the positive side of it is that these people do have the audience they have, which tells me that there's a pretty good percentage of the population that is interested in true thinking, genuine conversation, back and forth, getting to the root of, what the issues are, having an open mind. There's a pretty significant segment of the male population that wants to be proud of their masculinity, wants to get it together, wants a good role model. people watch Joe Rogan because he's having a real conversation. It's not some mainstream media garbage, you know, filtered, funded by this. He's just talking to people. Yeah. So the positive, I think, is that even though we know that there's a good segment of the population that's a robot culture, you know, parrots of, you know, traditional media, parrots of big pharma, on the other side, there's a passion for conversation and independent thought. And whether you're talking about Jordan Peterson or Andrew Tate or Joe Rogan, these are guys who are making people think, and they like it.
Absolutely.
So that's a positive.
Yeah, and I'll tell you how else I can tell that some people don't understand this concept is because some people don't even understand. Some people don't see the through line between all those names you just mentioned. People will be like, "What? Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson? How can you like? They have nothing in common, right?" Or people know I know, and people are like, "What?" You know, I saw people today like, "No, don't. You know, you can't compare Zuby to Andrew. Like Zuby's completely." And I get what they're saying on one hand,
right?
But they're missing the thread that has led to all of our rise in popularity, especially amongst certain demographics. I'll tell you that certain things that are in common. Number one is offering a positive, inspiring, and motivational message to young people. Not the victim mentality, not that you're racist, you're sexist, you're horrible, you're this, you're that, the world is going to end, the world's going to burn, right? Offering something positive and something actionable, something you can do. Get yourself in the gym, work on yourself, pick up your load, clean your room, go to the gym, like however it's phrased, however you say it, right? Andrew's there calling people brokies. Jordan's telling people to clean their room. Right. I'm telling you to get Jacksonated. Joe Rogan, right? Like it's all the same thing. Personal responsibility, right? So that's a part of it. The second part is that none of us, we don't lie. We don't lie, right? Doesn't mean we're always right, but we don't lie. It's not, I don't know the truth, and I'm there telling people the opposite or feeding them some type of agenda. And then I'd say on top of that is all these above people are intellectually curious and seeking the truth, right? So whether you're talking, again, you know, those just to stick with the same examples, a Joe Rogan, a Jordan Peterson, myself, and Andrew Tate, you know, all these people, you're seeking the truth. It's not here saying, even during the whole scamdemic era, right? It wasn't even like, I'm just trying to work out what's actually going on. Right? Like, I know it's not what we're being fed, right? We're just asking questions like, wait, what exactly is going on? Like, what's the deal with this? Like, what's the proof that this thing is this? What's the evidence for this? Is this the best way? What about the consequences of this? What about the trade-offs? All of these things. It's not even like, you know, we're just coming in as an authority saying this is exactly what it is, but it's the truth seeking, the truth seeking and the truth speaking. And to me, there's clearly a hunger and a thirst for this. I think this is why your show's doing well. Anyone who is willing to, anyone who has the thought and the courage to step out there in the arena with their platform and to say what they believe to be true and to seek the truth, there is an audience for you.
There is.
I think that's beautiful. And I think that's going to continue to grow and more powerful. I do think the legacy media and the politicians and all that, like every year they're losing trust. They're losing power. They're losing reach. They're still very powerful, definitely, but it's dwindling. Like the competition is rising. If you want to watch the full episode, you're going to click right here. And if you want to ask me a question one-on-one, you want to do a one-on-one FaceTime with a group of your friends, whatever you want, you need to download Connect right now. Click right here and let's get talking.